I think I'm live now. I didn't pull up the other things. Everything's right to the last minute here. If it wasn't for the last minute, I wouldn't get anything done. But hey, here I am. Welcome to Vlog Thursday number 227. And I feel like I did 2 live shows today because I did the video release of the PfSense versus OpenSense, and we'll see how civil the comments stay because, you know, people aren't always civil. And these, I was laughing. That was someone's request and comment was, will the comments stay civil? I'm like, I don't know. But let me see. I'm also trying, I've never done Streamlabs by myself, so this is a slight difference. I wanted to try this today because I have ideas of how I want to do things differently in the future. And leave that open, Brett. Let me share a window. Actually, is it a tab? There we go. Share. Cool. I can throw the comments here. That way we can read the comments and we'll figure out how they fit best. Good enough. I missed most of the OpenSense versus PfSense. You'll watch it tonight. And this is one of the cool features. This is me reading the comments and me putting the comments on the screen that I'll be reading so I can discuss them. This is one of the reasons I wanted to try this because I thought this was just kind of cool that Streamlabs has this option. Someone commented, yes, the other things related, nice that it's in 1080. Yes, thanks, John. It turns out to get things in 1080 also meant changing some more options. So I went ahead and updated to the latest version of Streamlabs and updated the options to be able to do that, which is pretty cool. So StreamYard. I'm saying Streamlabs, but yes, it actually is StreamYard, StreamYard.com. Just because someone will want to know what software I'm using. So StreamYard, nonetheless. All right. Now, this is not going to be a super long version of Vlog Thursday because I actually have an event to go to today, but I wanted to test this out today, try this. And also, I didn't have a ton of things to talk about, except I'm really just excited about the Homelab show and how well that's going. We picked up our first sponsor for that, so that's pretty exciting. And also related to Homelab is I'm going to be working on some giveaways. We are organizing hardware here at the office, and I was finding the right methodology, and a big shout out to Wendell from Level 1 Techs. Many of you probably watch Wendell as well, and he's just a wealth of knowledge and great YouTube channel. But I'm going to start doing the giveaways similar to the way they do them over there at Level 1s by basically posting in the forums of why you want some of the hardware, and I will then ship out inside the continental US some hardware that we have. Sometimes things are given to me, sometimes things I bought for review that I don't know what to do with, but I don't want them sitting here. I don't want them just sitting on a shelf somewhere. So I'll do some of the giveaways that way for, I would really like them to see in the hands of people who are building your labs who go, hey, I think this would be great. I figured if people take the time to do the signing up in my forums and posting an arrow wanting the hardware, it'll be a little bit better than just the random put a name in a hat type thing. But one of the other things related to that, I see someone says they're upset that is no EU. I will see if there's a way I can do some giveaways where I let Amazon take care of it. So I'll partner with some people on that. I like giving away hardware and stuff like that, especially, like I said, if I can make it helpful. The biggest challenge I have when I've done EU stuff years ago in a previous life, as I say, I used to just really hate dealing with all the customs problems that came with shipping things overseas. It's just a pile of paperwork and things like that, which is why there's always so much cost when something has to be exported. So yeah, and shipping to the EU is not cheap at all. That's just one of the challenges. I don't mind the small amount of shipping it may take to box up a switch and send it to someone here in the United States. Whatever, that's probably a $10 shipping fee. But yeah, the price ratchets up substantially when we have to send things to the EU. I'm also, you don't really think about this until you ship things internationally. I don't understand the addressing systems as well outside the United States. They start getting a little different. So that one, also means sometimes you get contacted by things not getting shipped to the right locations, which, I feel really bad about that. I want things to go where they should to the person who would like the stuff. So that's kind of my thoughts on that. Hey, cool. I can shrink myself and make it. Do we want to see me or the chat bigger? That's just neat. All right. Quit playing with things. Yeah, that might be something is where I have people pay for shipping. So yeah, that is a possibility, as well as have somebody else pay for the shipping. I don't know. For the most part, if I focus it on the US, the shipping is going to be less expensive, with the exception of if I ever wanted to get rid of a server. But yeah, nonetheless, what else did I want to talk about? Oh, what we do here. And this is one of those a little bit more complex topics that I might do an updated video on, of what all the team here does at Lawrence Systems and kind of the process of things. But I figured I'd ask, is there confusion? Because sometimes people don't realize that we can be hired for consulting, despite me saying, if you want to learn more about me and my company, head over to lawrencesystems.com. If you'd like to hire a short project, there's a hire us button right at the top. And then there's a comment down on YouTube. Can I hire you for help with a firewall? Sure. Yes. And then I reply and send them over to the website. But yes. But I may do a little bit more. I still haven't been completely sold on the idea of splitting the channel up into two parts because of the challenges of managing two channels. But it's still on my list. I'm trying to really think about how I want to do that. Yeah, it just becomes a little bit of the complexities and nuance to making all that work. And nuance is my word of the day because I recorded that video today and said nuance quite a bit. So I'm still using it because it's the difference between OpenSense and PfSense, the nuanced difference between these two products. Let's see, what else do we have in here? Please on the e-consulting. I'm not sure what that means. Let's see. All right. Now, other videos that are coming, and this is more the back end of what we're doing, is yes, we still use Invoice Ninja, but even better than that is I'm working on Invoice Ninja V5. We haven't switched to it yet, so those videos are coming. If any of you are into any of the invoicing, and I can probably pop this open in a new tab. Come on. Chrome does something stupid after this last update where it does like a sticky mouse problem, I call it. Invoice Ninja.com. We're going to go ahead and share the Invoice Ninja screen here in a second. Where did that go? Okay, I went behind that screen. Neat. Have you played with passwordless yet? What is passwordless? Let me Google that real quick. What is passwordless? Auth.o. Duo security. I guess I don't know what passwordless is. So I don't know that there's a lot of search results for passwordless. Am I going to do an updated ConnectWise video? And I'm assuming you mean the Screen Connect. ConnectWise control. I've done a video on it and it hasn't changed enough since I've done the video for this. Is there a quick way to switch? Not really. I have to actually stop the share. So if we stop and then we share again, share screen. We'll share this whole screen. There we go. This is the ConnectWise control. I have a video on this. I did, and my ConnectWise control video. So if we go over here to I did one. It was done roughly a year ago. It hasn't changed much in the last year. So I would say probably not going to do another video on it because there's not enough things that have changed. There we go. So we'll go back to sharing the chat. Share screen, Chrome tab, share. There we go. So no, I don't really have a plan to do a updated video on it because it just, yeah. Nothing really new has changed with it. Passwordless authentication, screen secret double octopus. I don't know what secret double octopus is. Nope. Ask it in the forums. Maybe I'll look it up. I'm not aware of it. Do I have a hot sauce of the day? Kind of. Someone sent us this. And so let me, you know what? Actually, this is kind of cool. Did I take a photo of it? Maybe I did not. I thought I did. Nope, I did not. Anyways, we don't have a hot sauce of the day. We did get shipped some hot sauce, but I didn't grab it and bring it in here to my office. So yeah, sorry. Sam, thank you very much for the donation, and hello from the UP of Michigan. Awesome. Up there, way up there in the UP, right? It was far, it's pretty far from me. What method would be best to image a PFS install to another disk? Or use the dollars to buy yourselves. Oh, yes, I do like Faygo. Occasionally, I don't drink much soda, but Faygo, rock and rye, man. I grew up on that. So for those of you who know, Faygo's a local company for soda. Anyways, a real world benefit to PfSense and SSD versus HDD? Not really. I can't think of a real benefit to doing it that way. For the most part, PfSense, it's arbitrary to load it, and then as soon as you load it, upload your XML file. So you just reload it on whatever hard drive you want. I mean, SSD, I think, is going to be better because it's going to boot faster. NVMe is a step better than that. But if you have PfSense and you don't want it on the drive it's on, just reload it, grab the XML file, back it up before you reload it, in case that's not obvious, but just in case, make sure you have a backup. When you load the XML file, it'll just go. So you don't really need to image the drive or clone it. Everything's in the XML file for the way PfSense works. So that's my go-to solution. We never back up PfSense. We only back up the XML file of PfSense. We never do, I should say, a hard drive backup of PfSense. But thank you for the donation. Let's see here. Yeah, Screen Connect, I thought you mentioned on Twitter, not new, not recently. Like I said, I did the video before on it, and it hasn't changed significantly. We've been updating it. I mean, the big significant change even for us was that we moved away from using it on Linux, moving to the running it on a Windows server. That's just the nature of things because they quit really updating that. So yeah, can't really say much else from there. So what else do we have? Let's actually talk about this. And I want to log into it before I share the screen. There we go. All right. We refresh. Get the latest version because there's lots of updates happening right now. This is something I mentioned is, have you ever used ASU Store? They sent me a tube A, never heard from them before. Hopefully they are decent. The ASU Store is something, I think Wendell reviewed it. I don't know much about it, so it's nothing I've ever used. So not something I'm particularly familiar with. Lots of those companies, you know, and because I know as you're building your channel, congratulations on the milestone you just passed. But one of the things about the as you grow in YouTube, you'll find, and this is where we get stuff, you'll find these companies just start, when they have your address especially, just start mailing you stuff and it just shows up. And that's like their product idea, try to get you to review it. We don't even review everything that comes to us because I don't have to do with some of it because it's outside of what we even do. But yeah, matter of fact, that's kind of how we got a bunch of 3D printers. So updated video about point to point and point to point. Yeah, I probably should do an updated one. We still do those. It's been a while and I haven't done an updated video on it as a topic, but yeah, the interface changed a little bit on the new UniFi. They kind of did some revisions. So maybe it's worth doing an updated video on it. I don't know. I don't know how much of demand there is for it. It's kind of a hit and miss because they're not, I mean, other than looking at a different interface, they're not substantially different than the previous ones we did. It's a wonderful problem to have that just shows up. Ever use Microsoft Windows E3 VDA? Nope. But I will share, because what we're going to do is stop the screen share and share screen Is it? I don't know which Invoice Ninja it is. So hold on. There's more than one here. That one. Gotta be careful when you have too many windows open, which one you're sharing. There we go. This is what the new Invoice Ninja looks like. And I will be doing some updated videos on this. This is my non-production system. So in case you're wondering, this is our special client law firm that we have set up in here, Dewey, Cheatham and Howe. And this is my demo data. And it's going to be kind of fun messing with all of this, of how we set this up, how we get all this to work. And there's a little bit different, how it works is different than the way it worked over in the previous version of Invoice Ninja. So we haven't migrated to it yet because part of the learning curve and part of the production that we have for getting all of these things set up. The challenge is right now, we have roughly 26,000 invoices that we have to import from the current working V4 Invoice Ninja to the V5. We also have close to 6,000 clients and all of our recurring invoices and everything else. Now, those features all work inside of Invoice Ninja V5, but importing a production system, as anyone knows, especially when it's financially related, yeah, that can be a daunting task. So definitely it's going to be kind of a fun thing. But once I do this, because a few people have commented on my older Invoice Ninja videos going, hey, the version 5 is out for Invoice Ninja. When are you going to do a video on it? And I would really want to do it sooner than later, but it is a careful transition because of the scale of our production system that we're using and billing all of our clients. And I want to just be absolutely sure that we have not lost anything or caused any particular problems by doing that migration. So it's like a slow transition. I don't mind or have any fear for moving virtualization servers, firewalls, or storage servers, but when it comes to moving my accounting server, that's what keeps the money flowing here. And I need to make sure the money stays flowing and that we don't have mistakes because there's so many quotes and things in process, kind of like data in flight. Well, there's processes of things in flight inside of here. So it's just one of those very more careful and calculated ways we're doing that transition. Are we still using Bitwarden? Absolutely. Love Bitwarden. It's still my go-to password manager, still self-hosted. Updates are going fine. No problems with Bitwarden. So that's, I just did a recent video on it. I did at least one update video, and I also was a guest on my friend Pete's video for Bitwarden as well. And there we go. Put the comments back over here. Dewey, Cheatham and Howe. Yes, that is definitely a great name. If you're not familiar, that actually was the mythical law firm that sponsored Car Talk. If you are familiar with that, an older radio show that would have today been a wonderful podcast. But still, it's still fun to listen to that old show. Sorry, I'm late to the party, but what invoice system are you showing? We use Invoice Ninja, the open source invoicing platform. We've been using it since 2018 and definitely a wonderful product. I'm really happy with it. It's done good by us, and working with the dev team has been pretty awesome. I forgot that's actually what I was going to title this. I was going to start doing a breakdown of it, but next week I'll do a breakdown of Invoice Ninja, and soon we'll be using version 5. We currently use version 4. So once we migrate over to the new version, I will start doing videos on it because I know there's at least an audience of people interested in that. Thanks for all the good advice and communicating a way that's even a newbie can understand. I'm giving Untangle a rip this weekend. Looking forward to learning more about firewalls. Awesome, Eric. Best of luck on that. Definitely fun to dive into and learn firewalls. How does Bitwarden work? This is one of those things, and you can only do so much. How does Bitwarden work if a member of your staff leaves? What's stopping them from taking exported passwords? Nothing. That's called insider threat. You do everything you can to mitigate it. You vet the people you hire, but the reality is if they need access to the passwords, they will have a methodology by which they can get those passwords out. And if you think it's something that's easy to do. I have an Edward Snowden to point at for you. So ask the NSA what they think of that. It's really, really difficult. Anything that people have access to, they also have access to take and export. Any plans for the weekend or Monday? Not much. I'm pretty boring on that. My usual, playing my motorcycle or whatever. And play with technology. That's usually end up doing, playing with servers and all those other fun things. So I see someone said the handles the insider threat. Yeah. Insider threat, always a fun stuff. Tutorial of Microsoft Bob is a bad April Fool's joke. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Might be fun. I never actually was a user of Microsoft Bob. I remember when it existed, but I never really did use it. Let's see what else here. Could use something like CyberArk. I don't use CyberArk, so I don't know. CyberArk is not a product I'm familiar with. Lockdown viewing to IP addresses. Yeah, that's absolutely something, our Bitwarden, for example, is locked down to only be loaded and work on systems we approved, and they have to VPN into our self-hosted instance of Bitwarden. So, it's not like they can log in at home at Bitwarden. They have to log on an authorized machine with their VPN in order to then authorize Bitwarden on there. We use the Bitwarden Enterprise. So it's not like it's easily accessible without a work computer. So there's also that. Have I had a chance to check out the new UniFi NVR Pro? Not yet. I don't remember. I think I mentioned my staff to order it. I can't remember. I don't know if a decision was made. So it's no. The short answer is no. We should probably get one soon. I don't know if they were out of stock or if we tried ordering one. I actually don't do the ordering. I have delegated that to other people here. I suggest things that we should buy though, but that's kind of where that stops. As far as that goes. There you go. Our techs go on site and have to be on client Wi-Fi in order to view passwords for the client. Once again, you mitigate that. You mitigate that with a VPN for going on site and having access to thing. I see people saying it's currently out of stock. So yeah, the new NVR, and that may be what happened. We put an order in for one and it's just in the queue. Matter of fact, we have a lot of things when it comes to the UniFi stuff because the cameras are on back order. The little, I got one because it's like one per person. The little Wi-Fi camera they have, which I think is a great product, but unfortunately it's hard to find. They're just out of stock on it everywhere. I can't tell if UniFi is seeing more demand than they can supply or if they're victims of the supply chain problem in general, because a lot of people do have that as a real issue, so to speak, of being able to get things. The car industry right here in Detroit is hit hard with the supply chain issues. Getting things. It's funny, a couple of weeks ago, you had to snipe a 48 port switch from UniFi and it was out of stock after my order completed. Yeah, it's tricky. And this is hitting other products, like I said. So it's more than just UniFi. But the problem with UniFi is they had some supply chain issues and hiccups prior to the supply chain backlog that we're seeing right now. The other thing, of course, because of the Chia mining has become a problem with hard drive shortages everywhere and hard drive prices going up so much. So this question comes up, and I'm going to work soon with 45 drives on this as a topic. Any future plans to migrate your data storage to distributed file systems such as Ceph? No, it's not something we need to do. It's such a niche use case, and it's a very enterprise use case. So yes, if I was trying to store data at the level of a massive enterprise, it makes sense. It makes less sense with the way we're doing it. there's times to use it and there's times to not. And I want to get the people from 45 Drives. We'll co-opt a video at some point where we talk about when you should and when it's just a fun experiment to play with in your home lab, but a completely impractical one at that. This is going to be fun. Glad you put out the PfSense versus OpenSense video earlier. I used PfSense, but meaning to play with OpenSense just out of curiosity. It felt slightly more aimed at home users. I would say OpenSense is a good product. Summary, I did a video on this recently. You can go watch for the full details. I just think they made it easier by putting an interface on there, but it doesn't, I don't know. It's not that much of a compelling difference between that and PfSense. So, yeah, that's just kind of a problem. Some of the things you can buy. Oh, this is actually, so just to clarify this, there are some things, UniFi things you can get on Amazon, but you have to pay extra for the convenience. No, you're paying the extortion fees. What people are doing is buying them from Ubiquiti directly because they know there's a limited supply and then reselling it on Amazon for a markup. So you're finding people who are, buying it off the site and marking it up over on the Amazon site for sale. So it's not Ubiquiti or a normal reseller doing it. It's usually someone just making margin on it. I think they're doing the same thing on eBay. Yes, I am registered for the Zen Community Summit. I have a bunch of videos to watch for that. I got to jump back in on that. So yes, I'm aware of the Zen Summit. Yes, the Sensi, I commented when I did my OpenSense review. Sensei, someone told me it was pronounced. I don't know. Sunny Valley Networks, Sensei. They offer this filtering system and people seem to like it. I don't know. I don't use it, but it is a feature that is exclusive to OpenSense and not available in PfSense. So there's that. Yeah, someone said just like GPUs and everything. And that is in reference to all the things being out of stock or overpriced on Amazon and eBay. If you can get your hands on one of these things that are in high demand, you can make a lot of money selling it back on eBay or wherever else you like to sell it. So any experience with building a bridge for UniFi? Yes, we've installed quite a few of them. They work. So plenty of experience. My staff, we've got them. We've gone island to shore. So we, if you look at one of my projects, and that project still exists and still is up and running from several years ago, that goes from an island to the mainland for site to site. Hey, Tony, thank you very much for the donation and appreciate the shout out here. So awesome. Thank you. I love making these videos. I'm really happy all of you enjoy them. Now this is a fair point. There was a lot of problems with supporting the returns if you get something from Amazon that was from Ubiquiti. So it became confusing, and let me explain why. The people who were going and buying from the resellers would buy like a 5-pack of something, but then individually sell it. So now you have a person registered with a reseller, buys from reseller who bought from Ubiquiti, who bought a 5-pack, who then individually sold the 5-pack. So trying to chase down where that order came from became confusing. I also heard, but cannot prove, that there was several gray market items on there. So you would find people selling stuff that was supposed to be returned or broken and maybe gray market that were putting it on Amazon, and then Ubiquiti would go, no, this should not have been out there. I'm fuzzy on that. I heard it in the forums, but I couldn't prove it, or at least didn't seem credible to me. But either way, there is a confusion level that came. And this is one of the reasons I believe, because Ubiquiti is not the most, forthcoming about how they're doing things. I believe that's why they want to really do direct sales, so they can control the pipeline to do warranty type replacements. So yeah. What firewall do you use or recommend to your clients to use in small business? Either PfSense or Untangle. Those are our go-to firewalls for most small businesses. So hopefully that helps on that answer. That question comes up a lot. There's a reason I just did the recent Firewall 2021 review video. It comes down frequently to Untangle because they want the filtering, or PfSense because they just need a basic firewall to get things done, and it checks the boxes that make the client happy. PfSense is still our go-to firewall for most things, but there are plenty of circumstances where we start using Untangle, especially when people go, I need all this monitoring, I need this reporting, I need this traffic listing, et cetera, et cetera. Those things are usually, become fairly important. Would you prefer a B2B bridge or gigabeams? I haven't really researched myself. My staff picks these and install them. I haven't actually done any of the site-to-site installs in a while, so I don't know of the recent product offerings which one would be the best one. So that'll be just kind of an honest answer. I have not myself done much of the planning lately on those. I know they have a few different products out, so I have not had any problem with any of the Ubiquiti site-to-site products. I actually found them all quite reliable and good. So I don't know which, but whatever one, and it becomes tricky because what Ubiquiti does, because they know there's demand for an older product, they'll introduce a superseding better product that may cost roughly the same, and people go, which one should I get? And they are used to using the old one, so they still buy it, but they then see the new one and going, should I get it? I usually prefer the new ones, but then the other problem is it as proven out in the field? Now you have a kind of a debate. Do you go with the one you've used before and you're familiar with the interface? Not that the interface is substantially different, or do you go with the new model they just released that seems to have slightly better specs for about the same price? So, if you're not going to use Sentinel-1, then use the built-in Microsoft Defender. Sentinel-1 is solid. Sentinel-1 is what we use. But if you're not using it, I think the one that Microsoft comes with is actually really good. Defender went from being the joke and came out on top of all these other AV systems. Matter of fact, Defender scores really high on detection tests, and it's actually become a pretty solid product what is built into Microsoft. So that's my go-to for actually like most home users and things like that. But if you're the MSP side, yeah, the EDR system from Sentinel-1 is going to be just a much better product. It gives you so much more. It's more than an antivirus. I've done, I think, one video where I dove in depth of how we use it for, threat research, but I may do more. I actually just reached out to some people at Sentinel-1 to work with them. Maybe I'm doing a couple more in-depth things to set up a demo account. Yeah, going with new has a typically longer support cycle. When you're choosing any product, that's generally true. If you're choosing site-to-site, that's probably a good benchmark right there to do. I'm going to give this podcast, this is a live show, 10 more minutes because I do have an event to go be at. Any plans to do a video about OpenWRT? Not at all. I have zero plans to do OpenWRT videos. I don't have a use case for it. With PfSense and some of their basic hardware being so inexpensive, or the fact that you can run PfSense on a low-powered used computer, I don't have a use case for OpenWRT. If you want to use it, I know it's still a popular project. I don't see any reason not to use it. I just don't see a reason to do a video on it. Let's see. 154 people watching with only 39 likes. Yes, if we could bash away at that like button and, in these last 10 minutes of the show here, that'd be great. Helps the YouTube algorithm know other people should watch this video. Let's see. Small issue, our construction clients using iPads at jobs to access Adobe from our center stack due to reliable internet. Do you have a construction internet devices or device session? No, there's two options. One, we have clients that are doing this in the construction space. They go with LTE, but they don't use iPads. They have LTE Verizon. That's been their go-to solution. Other times we've set up temporary internet at job sites. Because that's an option, run internet to one of the buildings, the temporary construction buildings on there, and go from there. So that's a couple options for you, but usually the LTE option is the go-to. With we have more than one customer doing that. They got Android tablets with LTE through their phone provider, and yeah. Yeah, I think this is a good point by Sean here. I always think of OpenWT as viable if all you have is a department store, big box store type of router. That's how I feel about it. Like if you only have that, it's a great tinkering project for it. I've, for years and years ago, I did play with it on like one of the original Linksys boxes, and that's cool. It was novel, but it doesn't really have all the advanced features you're going to get with something like PfSense, and that's why it's not as interesting. I would say it is worth the effort of changing the admin user on PfSense. It's part of the process we do is disable admin on it. Probably I should do some secure best practices video. It's one less piece of information people have of what will name the admin user for that particular instance. And this is even something we do on WordPress. You don't use normal usernames and things like that. It's not really the best security, but it's at least one more layer. Have a good complex password, and then swap out so you don't have the same just generic admin on there. It's any little bit of security. What the goal is with security is layers, defense in depth, and make them work for them being the threat actors, make them work for any inch they get into your network. So, oh, cool, I'm in and I have access to the web interface for PfSense. Oh, crap, it's not admin and it's not admin PfSense. So those then start running through admin and everything else and hopefully lock themselves out before they realize admin's not even an option. So fun stuff. So DDWRT, yeah, that was the old one. I don't know. I know there's some different variations of product between OpenWRT, DDWRT. I'm far removed from it, so it's not something I'm particularly familiar with right now. Been a while since I looked at that project. So it's the same thing with rooting my phone. That was something I did a long time ago, and I don't do as much anymore. It kind of like once I went to the pure Android experience on some of the Google Pixel phones like I have here, I suddenly didn't really need to root my phone to make it do some of the things that it worked. So yeah. I remember I had an ASUS router that ran Tomato, which I thought was pretty cool. I don't know that I would call a free IPA a alternative to Windows AD. It is an authentication server. That much is true. It is not a replacement for AD because you can't put it in where AD is required. So yes, failed to. Anyways, on the free IPA, it's a neat project. I think it's cool, but it's not necessarily the option. It's not an AD replacement. It's a authentication server that can run to authenticate things, but you can't if the ERP and line of business applications that a client has need the Active Directory, you can't say, well, let me just drop free IPA in here instead. So I don't like calling them an alternative because that would be misleading. Can you load fail to ban on PfSense? No, because it's already loaded. So you actually, it's no, but because it's already there. Fail to ban comes on PfSense. So serious question. In Star Trek, it's unclear if operations engineer responsible for IT related tasks. When it comes to the IT tasks, it's very different when it comes to the way things are probably going to be handled in the future. I don't even know the jobs and the hats are going to be the same then. So yes, there's ways to connect Windows to free APA, but it's not a drop-in replacement for a line of business application that requires Windows Active Directory. That's kind of my point. When someone says, hey, I have this here, we're going to use this enterprise sales program and it requires direct talking to an Active Directory server, they usually don't mean an alternative to Active Directory. So that's why I don't think of them as complete drop-in replacements. Now, Samba has ways of emulating some of the Active Directory, but it's still not the same as actual Active Directory. Best practice in a hot sauce video. Yeah. That would be best practice on how to eat hot sauce. Maybe we'll do a video like that. We'll talk about our fire. You know, I didn't do it for April Fools, but I thought it might be kind of fun to review our firewall, as in our wall of fire we have at the office of all the hot sauces. We do call it the firewall. So, you know, it seems kind of entertaining to do that. Couple more minutes here. Is there any final questions before I cut this live stream off? And don't worry, there's plenty of other content to watch because, you know, we have that OpenSense video, and that'll, you know, no one has to even ask about OpenSense anymore. I have a video about it where, what do you think about it? So I just did that. So how to make a good pizza with Tom. I usually order it. Yes, the firewall. That's definitely what we call it. Let's see. Burgers or brats for Memorial Day weekend? That's tough. Steak. Probably steak. PF sauce versus open sauce. That I like. There we go. That's definitely, I like that all together. So definitely a good idea for a April Fool's video. We'll do PF sauce versus open sauce. Smash the algorithm for the smash the like button for the algorithm for sure. Should you install Wi-Fi 5 or wait for Wi-Fi 6? I never think of Wi-Fi as a speed thing. If I want something fast, I hardline it. So I'm not that excited for Wi-Fi 6, despite people clamoring for it. I know the other reason for Wi-Fi 6 is it can support more simultaneous connections, but I don't know. Speed is never the issue with all my Wi-Fi devices. Connectivity is what I care about first, and speed second. And even then, it's a low second because, you know, if I play a game or something like that, I always hardline that. You said IBM and Red Hat, any list? Are they not now the same? Yes, kind of. IBM owns them, but they still are somewhat separate entities. So I know I said IBM being a contributor. IBM's been contributing to Linux since before they bought Red Hat. So that's more of my reference of a historical side. But technically, yes, they do owning. IBM owns Red Hat now. So. How often does Office 365 go down? Way more. Office 365 is a dumpster fire. And once you have enough client base, because Microsoft does accurately say is affecting some clients. And it's not like every client at once goes down. It's a group of them, not all of them. We don't know, like the unlucky few that seems to get hit. And I don't know. That's just, it's a problem and it's annoying. If you have enough clients and enough people, I should say, some will be affected by one of the outages, and they just seem to, this whole year has been a dumpster fire for Office 365. There was like back-to-back outages in April. I think there were a few back in March as well. It's just been a lot of them for the Office 365 platform. Sorry, Microsoft, figure it out. How do you separate yourself from carrier issues versus network issues versus hardware issues? You just do. You go through and test each piece of it till you figure out where the problem is. It's just troubleshooting. It's going through the logical process of each thing until you figure out what thing doesn't respond or what thing doesn't work. And when there's no connectivity at all, that becomes that much more challenging. Usually you got to have a backup connection and come in through the secondary connection to figure out how that works. What's the best way to back up Zen Orchestra VM when it's running on the same server when you only have one virtual host, so I don't have another node to run it on? What do you mean back it up? Just use the backup in Zen Orchestra. Zen Orchestra can back up VMs, back up the VM that is the Zen Orchestra VM. So that was probably best way I can describe to do that. What software are you using to break up comments? This is StreamYard, and we started using it for the podcast for the Homelab show, and once you have an account, I can use it for other things. So it seemed like kind of a fun way to do this. It also lets me add more people in, which is kind of cool. So matter of fact, one of the things I think it will do, let me go and do this. And pull this up. I think I can even double myself. So let me try to be 2. Where did that go? Does it work? I think it works on my phone. I'm going to try this because this is something I've been wanting to do, is go. All right. Now I'm on my phone. So it's kind of weird because that's why it doesn't. Oh, it does ship. Here's what my office looks like. That's cool that I can just kind of switch between devices. So this is no reason I want to use StreamYard. So I can switch between devices. Whoops. How do I exit out? That's bad. It won't stop. There we go. It wouldn't close. Oh, that was bad. Anyways, 2 times is too many. It started echoing. No, the VM does not need to shut down. No, you would need a Zen Orchestra to restore a Zen Orchestra VM. Not really. You can actually do it without, because it creates an OVA file, so you can import it back in. So you could, if you keep the OVA file somewhere, you could pull that OVA file back. I think it's OVA, whatever, XVA. The XVA file, you can pull the XVA file back into Zen Orchestra from the command line and get it back up and running. So there are ways to do it. Yes, the echo. All right, before I break the echo again and cause everyone's dogs to go crazy, I'm going to end this show. So thank you very much for joining. Looking forward to all the comments on the OpenSense versus PfSense. For those of you that have been asking that question, I'm probably going to check the comments as soon as I get off here, because I'm sure there's lots of comments in there, and that maybe the debate and arguing is going to be fun, because, you know, it's YouTube and that's how things go. But once again, thanks for everyone for stopping by, and see you next week or sometime in between with a bunch of other videos that I'll probably get posted. All right, take care.